We're done with our executive session. We'll now call the meeting back to order. The first item will be to consider the action items discussed in executive session.
I make a motion that we accept the retirement of Beth Nethery from elementary teacher. Also the resignation and then the new hires as presented.
Do you have a motion?
Those are motion second.
You only have a motion and a second. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All in dissent, same sign. That motion passed. Yeah, the next item is the approval of the minutes. Does anybody have any question about the minutes?
No, I make a motion, we approve the minutes as is.
Do you have a motion?
Second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All in dissent, same sign. That motion passed. The next item is our financial report. Rhonda, can we lean on you is there anything special about our numbers that you? Do y'all have any questions about any of the financial?
Make a motion, we approve the financial packet as presented.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All in dissent, same sign. That motion passed.
Okay, we'll get into the business, the next A through H of number 11. The board policy update is in a package that you have it, and it's all of section 3. And we took what was currently supported by ASBA, and we took section G, I think it was, married the two together, so we can now be with what can be supported by it's already gone through PPC, can be supported by what ASB's done, and falls under all the legal things that have happened in the last 2 years. So that's what that will be. This is not action where you'll take action tonight. It is action where you'll take it in June for approval. So this is for your nighttime reading. The second one will be contracts with our school-based health partnerships. One of the organizations that we will be having a contract with, Ms. Moore actually works for, so she'll have to recuse herself for that one. Hold on, Ms. Moore, because we're going to pull that one all by itself in just a second. We'll do all the other ones first. So we'll pull item B, and then she'll be excused from the room for that one. The next one will be item C about the licensed supplementary salaries for next year. Item D is the old administration building update where we'll be moving the ALE. Last year, we had ALE that was over at the primary school. We want it to be in a separate location. We also know that we have to update the fire alarm system that's in that building. So that's what that is concerning. Item E is an MOU for special education services to be provided from Dawson Co-op for our pre-K group. And then we have to adjust our prices by state law for our meal pricing. So that is to where we would have to go up, and we're going up by, I think it was 25%, 25 cents per meal. That has to happen.
What's the purpose of that?
State requires you to have certain amount of money that comes in, or you have to subsidize those additional funds. So they set a price. Now we had a choice to either go up a little bit now to finally meet in 2 years to 25 cents, but you had to go up to meet what their requirement was. Miller, is there anything else? Did I miss anything okay. Item G is the football scoreboard. It was blown over. We have filed this with our insurance, but the way it will work is we will replace it, and then they will give us back replacement costs. We need to get started on this so that we don't have board members standing at the end zone with marker boards to do the score. So we have to get working on that. Then there are no board-to-board transfers. So other than item B, are there any questions?
I had a question about the school board. It doesn't include installment, right?
That's correct. We'll have to get with electrical folks, and that's who installed the last time. I've
Do
gone,
we have any idea?
I don't, Rob, I do not know.
Question. Can it be moved a little bit?
Okay, so here's what we have proposed. I actually changed it from the location where it is now to the other side of the goalpost. So the hometown folks, we can actually see the scoreboard. That's, so in the process, we're gonna move it over to that location as well. And-
You know, the problem with that, they clear cut that timber to the end of the football field and that's allowing that wind that what blowed that over. So I mean, I would definitely consider,
Well, the
Do it.
standards have to be replaced anyway, because they're twisted. So those poles are gonna have to be replaced. So we're gonna have to get to that part. Once we know that which brand he's going through and the dimensions all, then we can move on to the next part of it. But getting that scoreboard ordered is what we need to get done now. But in fact, we talked about this last year. So if you ever move it or you replace it, you need to put it over there so
sure,
we see it rather than our visitors see it better than we do.
I would just say the framework and the, everything that probably needs to
That's correct. That-
address that extra wind load that you're gonna have coming from the west.
We'll get, and who's, I've gone blank on the people installed it last time. I want to say it's Pelgrim. Middlebrooks. Thank you. So we'll work through them and see exactly what needs to happen next. Once we know the dimensions, it'll help us to do the rest of the design.
Millie, I had a question on, what does that 25 cent increase per meal, what does that put a child's cost at? Or what would that child's cost be?
285.
285. Are there any more questions?
Okay, now on item C, I think there was something that was just, that we wanted to make an amendment to that schedule. To one of the salary schedules.
You want to just make an amendment to it or?
So let's do this. Let's take items A, D, E, F, and G and take that at one shot. And then we can do C with the amendment. So we're gonna actually pull B and C. And then, so do A, D, E, F, and G, and there is nothing for H.
Move to approve items A, D, E, F, and G
Second,
as recommended.
second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of that motion, say aye. All in defense, same sign. That motion passed.
Okay, on item C, I believe it was the schedule that was the licensed and non-licensed supplementary salary scale.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mr. President, I make a motion that on the band director that we added $1,000 additional stipend. So it was supplemental stipend, so 2,500 was the original amount at 1,000, so 3,500 total.
Do we have a motion?
We approve the license supplementary salary schedule with the amendment.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All in dissent, same sign. That motion passed.
okay, and that leaves us with item B. So Ms. Moore, if you would. Nothing is different. We still have the same opportunities for people to receive their services here rather than have to transport them to an outside agency, keep them in school longer than what's there. It is just that one of the partnerships is going to be with an agency that Ms. Moore works with. That's why she has recused herself from this decision.
Make a motion that we accept the school-based mental health partnerships for 2024, 2025 with Therapeutic Family Services and Experience Counseling Clinic. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All in dissent, same sign. That motion passed.
Okay, so Ms. Brady, if you would recognize that she left the room, please, and what time she'll be coming back here in just a minute, would you ask her to come back in? And notice that the vote for that was 4-0 instead of 5-0. The next part on item 12. get to it. Item 12 is about curriculum. It's going to be new. We have to provide something. The state has not determined what funding they're going to provide us. This is the one that is most beneficial, that is most everyone's going to be going with it. They both fit into HQIM. Ed minimum curriculum for ALE is what we've done last year. But the new for social studies curriculum, that's 312. So it is $46,000 that we'd have to pay for that. And the quote for ed minimum is 10,000. So it's a total of right at $46,165.
I'll make a motion that we approve the curriculum consent agenda for social studies and ed mental.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of that motion, say aye. All in dissent, same sign. That motion passed.
Oh, thank you. One of the things I did want to mention, Dawson Co-op was on this. While it's not directly on our agenda, I did want to make mention, and you can share this with people that you come in contact. The board has graciously, just like they did last year, are supplementing what is needed for the pre-K ABC program. Those who qualify under the APC grant program is funded through that, and the board will be taking care of that, just like they did last year. I don't know why we haven't gotten this fixed with the billing part of that. I apologize. We're working trying to make sure that happens, but we all understand up here and know that's what we're doing. So we apologize for any error or concern that it's caused for folks in our community.
And can I just add to that, our thought behind that, if we got a child here, then we might keep them here. And so we definitely think that's important.
So please contact the principal and say, hey, I got this bill. Is this real? And then she'll be able to tell you it's a real bill, but we'll take care of it. And then just relax and go from there. So Ms. Riley's had, I'm sure, a couple of those conversations as well too.
Lots.
So I would say this too, that we're the only one in the co-op where the board has agreed to fund this. So most everyone else where they have the contract for ABC pre-K, folks pay for their own. If they're not fully paid for under the ABC grant program, board does not pick it up. Parents do. So commend the board and thank you for doing that.
Thank you for our voters for putting their trust in us.
All right. So next one is a presentation. Mr. Crawley still here?
I wish he picked a different board.
It's only about 45 minutes.
Yes.
Just hit the lights as you leave.
I've got a program improvement proposal about our ag program, FFA chapter. First of all, thanks for all of that helped out with our auction the other night. We raised about $10,000, which is I was surprised at that number, and I was surprised at how many was there. And I really appreciate the support that we've seen so far with our program. Our program needs a lot in a lot of different areas. And I know that's going to take a lot of time and a lot of resources to be able to do that. So I just want to kind of cover, I put together this proposal, and I'm not going to read all this because it's several pages, but it really talks about what ag education is, the different parts of that, the different areas that it covers and how it impacts students and their career choices are going on in the college. And so I put this together and kind of pinpointed some areas of emphasis of where improvements could come from. So that's our what we offer now is our ag power side and our animal system side. And we're, just as far as minimum equipment, I went through this week and went through our minimum equipment list. And for both of these areas, we're missing a lot of items. That's just minimum equipment for the program. But we want to develop opportunities for students to, be leaders, to find job skills, to find areas that they might work. So our classroom, ag mechanics lab, and then our hopefully our future animal science facility. So basic things in our classroom that need improvement, just some basic, goods that are there in normal classrooms, and then some other things like our simulators that are used, you know, to teach animal science in our intro courses. And that's an average estimated cost of things that I went and found for that area. And then for ag mechanics lab, there's a lot of things on that list. A lot of these are on that minimum equipment list that we need and that we're missing, but there's some things that are kind of above that. And that's the cost, estimated cost for that amount, for the lab. And then the last one is, a building that's not even here, and that's our animal science, laboratory. We used to call these barns back in the days, but now they're an animal science laboratory. And this would be a place, where students could have hands-on interactions with, different areas of livestock. If a student wanted to have an SAE or outside project of raising some sort of livestock, and they don't have a place to keep it at home, they can keep it in this facility at school. There's, you know, 2 or 3 kids I know of this next year that they would probably show something if they had a place to keep it. They don't have a place. This would give a place for that, give a place for us to actually, you know, raise some animals from all the way from the AI process to having the animals born to being able to feed them out all the way towards the end. And just have a place that's, you know, here on campus that we can bring in kids all the way from pre-K up to the, you know, high school age to be able to go through. So that's, you know, that's a large number. I know that, that's a lot of money. So what are some funding options, for this? You know, federal purchase money that comes through our co-op can cover some of these items. State startup funding, the State Department is supposed to let out some, money, some new money to kind of go in and help some programs to study that are lacking. That it's not really a startup grant, but it'll help fund it like a startup grant would. Community partners, Farm Bureau has a set of money out that'll come in the fall. That's about $10,000 that we could apply for. Local foundation, individual donors, and then alumni and supporters, which we're going to have that chapter going hopefully next couple of months. So those are areas of funding that, you know, we could use to try to, you know, to fund this. It's a huge task to take in, but I think it's one that we can do one step at a time, work together. And it's really for the betterment of our students. And this type of change, I think it goes beyond, you know, it's kind of a generational change. If we can make this change, begin to do these things right now and have this for our students for years to come, it's really something that can impact them as they go through their high school career and take ag courses. So this is kind of my idea, my proposal. What I'd like for y'all tonight is just a blank check, just to say, go do it. You know? Permission to be able to fund, you know, to go out and try to raise funds in different ways. And if you have any, you know, ideas of people or foundation that we can contact to help get this done, I would be very appreciative of that. And if there's any questions, anybody?
Are there any large corporations like, in the animal business, Tyson, et cetera, that does any type of grants?
They'll- They have some funding grants. I know they've helped like build some miniature like chicken houses and poultry houses, Tyson has, on some schools. So there are some grants like that available also. And Farm Credit is another one that could have, you know, might be able to help out some with some funding.
Like Mark and I talked the other day, like an average show, like pig, and like, I think people don't understand how expensive that is, and like how the barn growing these animals all the way up, like the kids helping grow them up, like could put more kids back into learning about farms, but also having their own animal to show and do those kind of things.
Right. Now if a kid's gonna show, you know, go show a pig, they really need to have a pen that's got a concrete floor in it. Well, you're gonna ask a family just in the very beginning to, you know, invest $800 in building a pen, and most families don't have that, just extra laying around, so.
So if you have something like the animal science laboratory and kids that don't have the resources, you know, to keep an animal, are those kids going to have the resource to feed an animal as well, or would there be help for them for that as well?
Well, my hope, our alumni chapter in the past has helped fund students' projects. They would give like a $500 upfront, you know, amount of money to the family to help them purchase the animal and help feed the animal throughout the fall season. So hopefully those families that need that kind of help, we can get that aspect going also.
Would this also help do some of our, like, I mean, part of our things with Learns is this career tech, which I know Mr. Massey, right, is doing part of that, but is this considered a dual piece of this as well?
It could be, depending on which part of it. Agriculture is raising an animal does not,
Mhm.
but some of the agriculture mechanics.
Yeah, ag mechanics is what they call an H2 area, which we'll have for our high school, which is what'll get that extra funding, hopefully, because that is a highlighted career pathway.
So some of it, yes, it'll be partial. Part of the Perkins grant would be attributed to part of what you could do as far as CTE.
Like
But
the-
it would meet some of the requirements.
Okay, so that was like the slide that was like 89,000, like you needed more shop equipment,
Right.
like welding, HVAC, or teaching those kind of things, that would be part of that project,
Yes.
correct? Okay.
Now, was you considering that barn or that, animal building to be here on campus or where?
That's where I would like for it to be accessible on campus, to be able to get kids there during the day.
Cause I don't like you going back and are you familiar with what we call the FFA land?
Yes, yeah.
It wasn't the best ground, but.
Floodplain.
Yeah, made a heck of a hog pen,
Right.
you know?
I don't think that's a hog pen he's going for. I don't think that's what he's going for.
But yeah,
If I'm understanding correctly, the mechanics lab, that's a separate building?
The animal science lab would be a separate building.
Mechanics lab is not?
That's just a shop. There's the ag mechanics lab is the shop portion. of
That's
it.
currently
Yes,
here.
yeah.
So really tonight, like you need a proposal to allow you to go access grant money and start the project.
Yes.
Like we're not,
Y'all don't have to really take action. He wants you to know where he's coming from
Right.
and make sure that everybody here is on board with him starting this process. So it's not really an official action that you're taking as far as you're proving anything, but it is keep you informed. Because we're not gonna do something this big without the board knowing this is where we're headed.
I'm very excited.
Yeah.
Did we figure out about your air conditioning in your shop so y'all don't burn up?
It's still hot in there.
No, you don't.
I do have a construction meeting tomorrow. So part of that was that, because we've been told that there's some units that would be donated, and we're gonna find out exactly where those are. If that's possible out there, do we need to proceed other avenues?
well, I'm gonna rob from my FFA creed. We believe in the future of farming here. I really do believe that. I think there's a need, for our children to know where their milk comes from. And, if you could help with that, I think that's very beneficial to our area. For our children.
I'm on board with it.
Very excited.
Sure.
Appreciate that. All right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next board meeting would be June the 18th, 6:30. And then I guess the last item would be that of adjournment.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor of that motion, say aye. All in dissent, same sign. We are adjourned.
You just don't want